Hi, this is Benjamin, founder of Farmagain. Today's video is for people who are just about to get into farming. You may have bought your land and in the planning process just to build your farm, or you may have just started your farming activity but maybe stuck somewhere not knowing exactly how to proceed. This is for you. We're going to discuss in depth about the common mistakes people do and how not to get trapped into those mistakes and get your farm into a perfect, profitable venture. We're going to look at 5 key things that are really, really important for you to succeed in farming. The first point we're going to discuss is about the influence of sensational videos coming on social media. There are videos that claim to give you 10 lakhs, 15 lakhs, 20 lakhs per acre returns without any technical backup. There is no proper information on how you will actually get those revenues, but simply sensational. Only talking about productivity, the revenue side, but really not going deep into what you have to do in order to get to those revenues. And you also see claims where, uh, especially in polyhose and in recent days, people talk a lot about turmeric. And you have people claiming to produce 5 kg rhizome per plant. You have people claiming to successfully implement vertical multi-layer turmeric farms. But please be very, very careful. Look for the real technical subject. Look for science in what they're saying. If you're able to see science into it, if you are able to see technicalities of how these claims will be materialized, please look into those. But otherwise, be very careful. Don't fall for the sensational claims shown on social media. The second and often overlooked parameter is the infrastructure. Oftentimes, you spend a lot of money buying the land, and seldom people have ideas of what infrastructure to actually build. So they end up discussing with friends, looking for suggestions, going and seeing farms where they may have done something in a certain way, and trying to look at multiple ideas from many different places, put them all together into one single piece, and actually implementing something. And just after 6 months, after 1 year, redo part of it. I've seen people who actually redo the entire drip irrigation, they build a pond, and then they construct another pond, and then some people go for an organic digester, and a lot of things, not clearly knowing what infrastructure you really need for you to succeed in your farm. So the infrastructure planning is extremely critical. This is where the precision farming also comes into picture, where right from right after you purchase your land, looking for water availability, looking for what kind of crops you will plant, and for the crops that you plant, what kind of drip irrigation you should have. And let's say there are different types of drip irrigation. You get subsidized drip irrigation, you get more expensive and special purpose drip irrigations. So, are you really considering the right kind of drip for your crop? Did you consider the right pump you need to be able to pump out enough water to your crops? So, there are so many things that you need to really keep in mind while planning the infrastructure. For example, if it is a vegetable crops, you will have to have a proper bed structure, mulch sheet, and there are places where you will have to use weed mat. So there are umpteen number of things to be carefully planned when it comes to building an infrastructure. And if you don't do it right, it will reach a point where either I keep redoing my infrastructure, or at some point I may get frustrated and give up and go back to what I was doing earlier. The third is about crop planning. There is a misconception among people that with the modern crops or hybrid crops, you can pretty much grow anything anywhere. There was a gentleman who, in fact, bought apple seedlings, and he's trying to grow that in Dindigul, in such a hot climate. Obviously, it is not going to succeed. There could be, sporadically in the backyards, one may have grown an apple tree and that may have yielded, but as a farm, it is never going to be successful. So you got to really look at your weather pattern. In our case, we look at the last 10 years weather pattern, and try to predict how the next few years are likely to be from a climate change point of view, and then look at which are the crops that are more suitable for those regions, and then plan the most optimal crop planning. Say, for example, a place might have very little water. There is no point planning for an intercropping, right? So you got to look at your water availability, you got to look at the suitability of the crop, and find out the real combination of crops that can give you the maximum revenue per acre. You got to really make use of every square meter that is available in a farm, but that got to really correlate with the other factors like water, the labor availability, and all of that. So this is an important factor which, again, if done wrong, drives people to probably quit farming or get frustrated about the investments they may have made. Sometimes these incorrect crop plannings lead to huge investments. I've seen people who crop something just about a year or two later, uproot all of them and go replant with other crops, right? So, but then if you do it right the first time, you don't have to waste money. Get it right first time, and you can get your farm to a real revenue generating machine. The next is about severe underestimation of the amount of work actually involved in farming. A lot of people actually get enthused about the amount of revenue they can make, especially if they go with vegetable crops. And it is true. Uh, they start giving revenues quicker, and they also give a lot of revenue. As against perennial crops, they take a long time, and maybe the quantum of revenue, the total revenue, will also be lesser as compared to an intense vegetable cultivation of different crops. But this comes with a caveat. The vegetable cultivation requires the farmers, the owners, to be present in the farm, or have someone who can really fully focus on a daily basis. Sometimes it will even require hourly basis monitoring. Right? So the vegetable crops, if you really want to go for vegetable crops, please make sure you are able to dedicate the amount of time needed by the plants. The plants need your time, and only if you can dedicate that kind of a time, and only if you can do things without fail. For example, if you want to do tomato cultivation, we actually tell our farmers that they got to do staking even before they transplant. But I don't think I have seen any farm do that. Always the planting is done, then you get into firefighting, start staking the plants after maybe 30 days, 35 days. I've seen in some places even after 2 months. By that time, the tomato plant would have become a bush instead of growing upwards as a vine, and you are going to lose at least 60% of productivity, and oftentimes the plants die premature, right? So not only do you have to dedicate time, but also you got to know exactly what you have to do. The package of practice needs to be on your table even before you start planting, and you got to follow every single step with no miss. Every single miss is going to cost you money, is going to lead you to low productivity regime. On the other hand, if you are comfortable, let's say you don't have enough time to dedicate for vegetable farms, we would say go with perennial crops, have the right mix. They are going to start yielding slowly but steadily, of course. The overall revenue after maybe 2 years, 3 years is going to be perhaps, if not as high as vegetables, certainly it is going to be somewhere close, right? So be very careful about the possibilities of your own time spent in the farm. If you think you cannot, please don't get into vegetable farming. The next, craze for integrated farming. If I'm a traditional farmer with, let's say, 20, 30, 40 years of experience, I would have gained a lot of subject knowledge. I know what works, and I would have experimented with fish farming, and on top of it, maybe I grow goats, and take that water and use it for irrigation. And maybe I even have a digester. In the digester, I put all my biodegradable waste and enrich the water and supply. Yes, it comes with an experience. But what is happening today is a lot of people who come from Chennai, who come from Bangalore, who are comfortably working in some software companies, They see these models and they think they can replicate, and it is a hell no. You will not be able to replicate. It is a outcome of many years of painful experience of somebody, and you are not going to be able to repeat just like that. Therefore, as a fresher, please do not try to copy somebody's work, because even that somebody who has succeeded may not be able to explain to you in greater details, because it is an outcome of his own long term experience. So don't try to copy it. Go with scientific means. Once you stabilize your farm, then do all these experiments. Can I do integrated farming with fish and pond and goats and chicks? Do that experiment later, after you have succeeded, uh, have created a strong foothold in what you're doing. Until then, please do not experiment by looking at other farmers. Now, assuming I've done everything right in all these 5 points, the next question is, who is going to guide me? That's where we are there. We will do the climatic study, the crop suitability study, and we will actually come back to you with a proper proposal of what you can do and what you cannot do, and what you can expect in the next 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, practically. Not claiming to give you 400 nuts from a single coconut tree per year. No, based on your locality, based on your soil profile, based on your water profile, what can be done is what we will give it to you as a report. Then it is up to you to follow that and make your farm one of the successful farms that you can ever do. And also, once you do the planning, once you get everything right, the next important thing also happens to be a less human dependent scientific technology that can support you. We have talked about this in different videos at length. All these plants, whether you go with perennial crops or short term crops, they all have one thing in common. They need proper moisture at the root zone. They need to be supplied with the right minerals at the right time. Now, this is where the technology comes in. Our technology GroTron, which is patented and also recognized as one of the top 100 innovations of India, was exclusively built to enhance photosynthesis by making sure the moisture at the root zone is optimal at any given time and gives the right nutrition at the right time. So far, we have been working with only our farmers in India, mostly southern and western part of India. But recently, the government of Indonesia, in their agricultural vision document, they've actually added us, which is a great honor to us. Um, and we have been identified by the government as one of their partners who will help fulfill their agricultural vision. And you can very well imagine it is not easy for us to be included into a vision document of a government, right? It didn't happen just like an accident, and it cannot happen by marketing or sales, right? It is an effort by the Ministry of Agriculture, Government of Indonesia, where they installed a technology almost 2 years back, and they've experimented with the technology. They've seen the results over the last 2 years, and then they've included us as their partner to be able to fulfill their agricultural vision. Just like how we supported the government of Indonesia, we are here to support all the farmers to make sure your venture, your farming venture succeeds. You make your farm as successful as possible, as revenue making as possible, as profitable as possible. And we are there to help you 24/7. Do contact us. You can call the toll free number, you can write us email, and we will respond to you and support you end to end from the beginning to the point where your farms turn completely profitable.